Did you know your next-door neighbor's identical home could sell for $75,000 more than yours, even with the same square footage and recent updates? This isn't about luck. It's about a critical misunderstanding of what truly determines home value in the U.S. Most homeowners fixate on obvious upgrades like kitchens and bathrooms, pouring thousands into projects they think will boost their property's worth, only to be deeply disappointed by the appraisal. We're going to expose the hidden factors that actually move the needle and show you why your perceived value might be wildly off. The biggest mistake isn't what you spend money on, but what you completely ignore. The classic real estate mantra, location, 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 isn't just a catchy phrase. It's the bedrock of your home's value, far more than granite countertops. Think about it. A beautifully renovated home in a declining school district or next to a noisy highway will almost always be worth less than an unrenovated one in a top-tier school zone with excellent walkability. Appraisers heavily weigh factors like school quality, crime rates, proximity to amenities, and even traffic noise. For example, two identical homes in the same city, one in a top-rated school district and the other in a struggling one, could easily see a $50,000 to $100,000 difference in value, regardless of their interior finishes. So, while you might love your new kitchen, its value is capped by its surroundings, which brings us to the next crucial, often overlooked, element. Your home's value isn't an isolated figure, it's a reflection of comparable sales, or comps, in your immediate area. An appraiser isn't just looking at your house. They're analyzing what similar homes in your neighborhood have actually sold for in the last 3 to 6 months. This is where many homeowners misstep. They see a friend's house in a different part of town sell for a high price and assume theirs will too, ignoring the fact that their local market might be entirely different. If the 3 most recent sales within a half-mile radius were all $450,000 for homes like yours, it's incredibly difficult for an appraiser to justify a $500,000 valuation, even if you just invested $20,000 in upgrades. This reliance on comps is why even a perfectly maintained home can struggle to appreciate if its neighbors aren't selling for more, which leads us to the surprising impact of property taxes. High property taxes can significantly depress your home's market value, even in desirable areas. Buyers don't just look at the mortgage payment. They calculate the total monthly housing cost, and property taxes are a huge component. Imagine 2 identical homes, each valued at $500,000. Home A is in a town with a 1.5% property tax rate, meaning $7,500 annually. Home B is in a neighboring town with a 3% rate, meaning $15,000 annually. The higher tax burden on Home B makes it a less attractive long-term investment for many buyers, who might only qualify for a lower overall monthly payment. Consequently, Home B might sell for $20,000 to $40,000 less to compensate for the ongoing higher expense. This often overlooked factor means you could be paying for a value you'll never realize, but there's an even more direct financial lever at play. Interest rates have a direct, powerful, and often underestimated impact on your home's value. When rates rise, a buyer's purchasing power shrinks, meaning they can afford less house for the same monthly payment. Let's say a buyer can afford a $2,500 monthly mortgage payment. At a 3% interest rate, they might qualify for a $500,000 loan. But if rates jump to 7%, that same $2,500 payment might only get them a $375,000 loan. This dramatic reduction in what buyers can afford means sellers must adjust their prices downward to meet the new market reality. A 4% swing in interest rates can easily translate to a 20 to 30% reduction in home values across a market. So, while your home hasn't changed, the cost of financing it has, directly impacting what someone is willing to pay. And this effect is amplified by another critical, but often hidden, factor. Appraisers are not just looking for granite and new paint. They're looking for functional obsolescence and structural red flags that can significantly devalue your property. For example, a house with only 1 bathroom in a 3-bedroom layout, when all comps have 2, is a major functional deficit that can easily shave $15,000 to $25,000 off the value. Or consider a leaky roof, outdated electrical panel, or foundation issues. These aren't just repair costs. They are major liabilities that appraisers factor in heavily. They will note the age and condition of major systems like HVAC, plumbing, and electrical. A home needing a new roof and HVAC system might get an appraisal $20,000 to $30,000 lower than a similar home with recently updated systems. Ignoring these core structural and functional elements is a common misstep, often leading to a painful realization during the appraisal process, which is often tied to lenders' requirements. Lenders play a surprisingly large role in your home's value, or at least the value they're willing to finance. They have specific requirements for properties, especially for FHA or VA loans, which can significantly influence an appraisal. If your home has peeling paint, exposed wires, or a broken window, an FHA appraiser might flag it as a health and safety issue, requiring repairs before the loan can close. This means that even if a buyer is willing to overlook these issues, the lender might not, forcing you to either make costly repairs or find a cash buyer, which dramatically shrinks your pool of potential purchasers. This can easily lead to a $10,000 to $20,000 price reduction to account for the necessary repairs or the limited buyer pool. Understanding these requirements before you list can save you a world of pain, but there's a flip side to this that many homeowners overlook. One of the biggest myths homeowners believe is that Zillow's Zestimate or Redfin's estimate accurately reflects their home's value. These online tools are fantastic for general browsing, but they are algorithms, not human appraisers. They rely on publicly available data and their own proprietary models, which often can't account for nuances like specific upgrades, unique local market conditions, or the actual interior condition of your home. I've seen Zestimates off by $30,000 to $50,000, sometimes even more. For instance, a Zestimate might not know you just put in a brand new $15,000 HVAC system, or that your neighbor's low sale price was due to a foreclosure. Relying solely on these tools for your expected sale price is the $75,000 mistake I mentioned earlier, leading to unrealistic expectations and potential disappointment when a real appraiser comes through. So, if Zillow isn't the answer, what is? The most accurate way to understand your home's true value, short of a full appraisal, is to get a comparative market analysis, or CMA, from a local real estate agent. Unlike Zillow, a good agent will physically visit your home, assess its condition, upgrades, and unique features, and then meticulously compare it to recent sales of similar homes in your specific micromarket. They'll know if that low comp was a distressed sale or if a high comp had a unique feature like a detached ADU. This personalized, human-driven analysis is far more precise. For example, an agent might identify that your unique, large backyard, which is rare for your area, adds an extra $10,000 in value that an algorithm would miss. This deep dive into the true comps is essential, but it also reveals a common mistake homeowners make regarding their home's best features. While curb appeal is important for attracting buyers, it doesn't always translate dollar for dollar into increased appraised value. A beautifully manicured lawn and fresh exterior paint might get buyers in the door, but an appraiser's job is to assess the asset itself. They will note the condition of the exterior, but a $5,000 landscaping project might only add $1,000 to the appraised value if it's simply bringing it up to neighborhood standards. On the other hand, deferred maintenance like a cracked driveway or an unkempt yard can certainly detract from value. The mistake here is overspending on purely aesthetic, surface-level improvements while neglecting more impactful structural or functional elements. You're better off ensuring your roof is sound and your HVAC is functioning before planting that expensive rose garden. This leads to the critical question of what truly adds value. Not all renovations are created equal when it comes to adding value. The best return on investment often comes from projects that improve functionality, add square footage, or address major system upgrades. Think about converting an unfinished basement into livable space, adding a second bathroom, or replacing an ancient roof. These projects have a higher chance of a dollar for dollar, or even greater return. For instance, finishing a 500 square foot basement could add $25,000 to $50,000 to your home's value, depending on your market. Contrast this with a custom-built, high-end kitchen that might cost $70,000 but only return $40,000 at appraisal because it's over-improved for the neighborhood. Always research the average return on investment for renovations in your specific area before you start tearing down walls. And remember, the market itself is always moving. Finally, the timing of the market itself is a massive determinant of your home's value. A home that's sold for $400,000 in a hot seller's market might only fetch $350,000 a year later in a cooling or buyer's market. Economic conditions, job growth, population shifts, and local housing inventory all play a role. Trying to sell when inventory is high and buyer demand is low is like swimming against the current. You might have the perfect house, but if there are 20 similar homes on the market and interest rates are high, buyers have leverage, and prices will adjust downward. This is why staying informed about local and national real estate trends is crucial. Don't assume your home's value is static. It's a dynamic figure constantly influenced by forces beyond your control, but you can prepare for them. Ultimately, your home's value is a complex interplay of location, comps, market conditions, and its structural integrity. The $75,000 mistake isn't a single error, but a series of misjudgments born from not understanding these interconnected factors. To protect your biggest asset, focus on functional improvements, address deferred maintenance, and always get a professional CMA. Don't let a Zestimate dictate your expectations. If you're wondering how to actually build equity when interest rates are high, and whether refinancing is worth it, make sure to check out our video on that exact topic next. And if you found this breakdown helpful, please subscribe for more practical real estate advice.